What did he say?
You're not getting the sound.
It's not working.
And now, Pujya Atman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda commences tonight's satsang with the Sanskrit peace chant.
Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We begin with mystic song by Sri Swami Lalitananda, played and sung by Sri Swami Umananda and Rajneesh.
Our song tonight is based on a poem by Swamiji. It's called Somewhere. Somewhere, someone plays the flute and sings a mystic song that comes sweeping over the mountains by lakes and forests, dancing on ocean waves, playing with shining stars. Somewhere, someone beyond the wheel of time is singing his sweet song, and in the early dawn, as I listen, I become one with a song the world praised, like the morning mist. I have become one. I am everywhere. Vedam Sarvam. We are recording from the ashram of our revered Guru Pujya Atman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda in Miami, Florida. Today is March the 31st, 2021, Wednesday evening, and tonight Swamiji will be lecturing on the Yoga Vasistha. This is series 2018, class number 327. And now Pujya Atman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda.
Om Brahmanandam Param Sukhadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasya Laksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Om. Adorations to Sadguru, who is Brahman, the giver of supreme bliss, embodiment of pure consciousness. one without a second, vast as the ether, infinite, eternal, beyond the three gunas and their modifications, the supreme preceptor. Yoga Vasistha, Nirvana Prakarana. Purvardha, and section is 68. Sage Vasistha continues to give profound wisdom, the wisdom that Brahman alone is real, that every soul is essentially Brahman. And if any jiva is awakened, he becomes Brahman, and he has the capacity, or he has the potentiality to realize, I am all this. Two ways Brahman is directed towards your mind. Brahman as the ultimate reality, and Brahman as all this. Those who lack the art of inward reflection on the self, but are devoted to rigid austerities for controlling the senses and mind, are called kasta tapasvins, rigid. People who practice rigid austerity, they are called kasta tapas. They have become like wooden structures, practicing austerity. This chapter has taken over the theme of mauna. Mauna is silence. And there are different stages of silence. And there are different meanings behind them. General mauna is mano mauna, silencing the mind. But silencing the mind can be by force or by purifying the mind. Purifying the mind is the higher, the real purpose. Sushupta mauna. Mauna that you experience in deep, deep sleep. But that mauna becomes allegorical description of experiencing padartha bhavana. We'll get into those points gradually. When you don't speak, it's called vak mauna. When your indriyas are withdrawn, your senses are withdrawn, called indriya mauna. All the different maunas are disciplines leading to padartha bhavana, leading to sushupta mauna. Those who have understood the illusoriness of the world and the reality of the self are ever immersed in the bliss of their innate self, even while performing their daily duties in the world of mind and senses. They are called Jivan Muktas. These are the Jivan Muktas who enjoy Sushupti Mauna. While all are sleeping, they are awake. And where people are awake, Jivan Mukta is in deep sleep. These statements from the Gita. Don't take it literally to understand the allegorical meaning. People are awake to worldly values, mundane values. To those values, a sage is completely in deep sleep. But the type of awakening the sage is experiencing, people around, they are in deep sleep. They have no idea. Control of speech is called Vang Mauna. A forceful withdrawal of the senses is called Indriya Mauna. Complete abandonment of all effort is called Kashta Mauna. The silence of the mind is included in these austerities. Therefore, it is not described separately. Indriya Mauna is, Mano Mauna is implied, no matter what Mauna you are practicing. However, there is natural Mano Mauna during death, during state of swoon, and during deep sleep state. Mind stops during deep sleep, during a state of when you have fainted away, and during death. A sage who is immersed in the awareness of the self is the enjoyer of Sushupta Mauna. Even in the waking state, though engaged in various activities, he enjoys the silence of deep sleep. This form of Mauna is the goal of all spiritual practices. In Vang Mauna, Indriya Mauna, and Akashta Mauna, rather in all the three Maunas, Mauna of speech, the Mauna of silence of the senses, and in this wooden type of pictorial silence. All these types of silence are externalized. This silence is not touching the absolute silence of the self. So don't confuse. No matter how silent you sit, you are not rooted in meditation, in the self. And the vision of a person is trapped by the projections of the citta. You can be externally very silent, but internally you are trapped. You are riding a horse, and suddenly you realize that you have to practice meditation. but you don't want to get out of the horse. So you control the horse. Make it as still as possible. Now you have succeeded. The horse is very still. And nobody is around. But you are fooling yourself. Every moment you are under stress, keeping the horse under control. So what appears like a practice of great silence, internally there is a lot of effort is involved. This is not to discourage you from practicing silence, but to discourage you to think that the practice itself is perfection. Continue to practice your pratyahar, withdrawal of senses, your level of silence as discipline for the goal which is being explained. Therefore, much effort is needed in observing these types of mauna. In addition, the result of this arduous practice is transitory and insecure. Therefore, an aspirant should endeavor to understand and practice Sushupti Mauna. Sushupti Mauna literally means the silence that you experience in deep sleep. Philosophically, metaphysically, it means when you have attained that enlightenment, the world experience has become so silent that the type of silence that you enjoy in deep sleep. This is not a physical sleep, an internal detachment. Sushupta Mauna consists in negating the reality of the world by developing intuitive insight of the soul. Intuitive insight of the soul is a profound revelation of who am I. Aham Brahmasmi. When the Aham has become awakened, then you become as if in deep sleep in relation to the world of time, space, and causation. Always keep the imagery of the sun up there and countless reflected suns in jars of water. All these suns are jivas, souls. But the souls are not being awakened to realize I am the sun. They are being awakened to realize what is in the pot, what's outside of the pot, what type of world you are facing, what type of world has passed on, and what will be the future. But the profound inquiry, who am I, must terminate in revealing that every soul is essentially Brahman. Reflection has no reality. Brahman alone is real. When that fulfillment has occurred in your heart, of revelation of who am I, the From the point of view of the world process, you enter into deep sleep. In other words, the world process is transcended, though you are living in the world. The enlightened soul is like a reflected sun that has come to a state of attunement with the sun. The water has become clear, and reflected sun is in tune with the real sun. Now in that state, real sun alone is real. But apparently it continues to reflect in that jar. So, if you see yourself pursued by your shadow, it should not give you a problem. Nobody is pursuing you. So reflected sun is in no way any limitation for the absolute sun. Consequently, a yogi enjoys the boundless freedom of the inner self. He does not depend upon objects anymore for his happiness. You have to understand all this in a mature way. When we say we don't enjoy objects, that doesn't mean that if you are eating chocolate, you can't enjoy it. But all the enjoyments that the world gives are like little waves. They are not real enjoyment. The real enjoyment is ananda, bliss, which is like the ocean. And that enjoyment is lies in the revelation of who am I? Once I am has been realized, all problems are resolved. You are dreaming. And once you develop the idea, who am I? I am not this real one. I am a dream subject. Once that revelation comes and you wake up from your dream, you are free of all the troubles that you are facing in your dream. He is like a dreaming person who awakens and realizes that he has been dreaming. And thus it is no longer concerned with him. He is no longer concerned with the contents of his dream. While natural sleep confers upon a person a temporary state of freedom from the mind and its problems, the sleepless sleep of the enlightened sage enables him to be ever established in the self, transcending the mind and the senses. Even his wakeful hours are overpowered by the eternal silence of the self. The silence of sleep does not require the practice of the threefold control of pranayama. This type of mauna, sushupta mauna, and bhumika point of view, padartha bhavana, is not a result of practice of pranayam. Pranayam immediately calms your mind, but it can't calm your illusion. So, no matter how long you can go on practicing pranayam, don't compare it with enlightenment. You don't say, I'm enlightened, look, I can hold my breath for 3 minutes. Nothing to do with enlightenment. This is not to discourage you from pranayama, but to understand the role of sadhana. Enlightened sage is ever established in Sushupta Mauna. The innermost self is the Supreme Shiva. God, Shiva, Brahman you are looking for. And God, Brahman, Shiva is your essential nature. This is the most profound revelation given by Yoga Vasistha and in fact all religions. Whoever attains the realization of the self abides in the silence of sleep. Prior to this silence, you experience surrender to God. As practice of integral yoga continues in your daily life, the discord in your personality goes into melody. Same discord that gives lot of noises to your ears, turning to melody becomes inspiring. Same problems that you face, led by your mental set, when you face those with surrender to God, a divine melody has entered your heart, and miseries begin to disappear. And you enjoy the miracle of grace. So in other words, for experiencing this Sushupta Bhavana, the silence of sleep, start integral yoga. Start harmonizing your personality. And the highlight of this, develop bhakti of God. And in that bhakti movement, surrender. The surrender should not be verbal. It should be practical, real. Even surrender, it doesn't come in one movement. It's progressive. How much you surrender. That is depends upon how much sattva you have in your mind. A liberated sage abides in the innermost self. He doesn't have to abide, he is the innermost self. He does not need the support of mental concepts that pertain to the world of multiplicity. When you are enlightened, you are not needing any support from the world. When you wake up, you don't need any support. Your dream personalities, the dream jivas, They don't go on telling you, look, look, how awake you are. He becomes the very embodiment of peace and wisdom. He rises beyond all relative concepts of existence and non-existence. Rising beyond this implies rising beyond bhava pratyaya. Remember always that bhava pratyaya means if you watch a cinema show, what is engrossing your mind is always the projection. The projection is creating the experience of prosperity, adversity, presence, absence, gain, loss, and all these variations of experiences are on the basis of projection of your mind. Your goal is not to stay with the projection. If you are in adversity and now suddenly become prosperous, you have not attained the goal. You have to simply wait for what will happen to your prosperity. So you are in bhava pratyaya. Confined to bhava pratyaya, you are in bondage. When the pratyaya itself, the whole projection is lifted out. A simple sample you get in sleep or in a state of profound surrender to God through a degree of samadhi. Then you have moved away, you have lifted up the world of multiplicity. But when surrender to God becomes profound, you enter into what Vedanta calls it, padartha bhavana, absolute aloneness. Alone is not a negative term. Brahman alone is. The sun alone is. In rich homes and homes of big people, apparently big people, they use the term ekant whenever there is something interesting for them. Shut everybody out. You want to be alone. But in the gripped by ignorance, there is no ekant in the world. You can never be alone. But when you attain enlightenment, then you are absolutely alone, non-dual. The sun is alone, absolutely. Whether you should appreciate it or not, that's your problem. The state in which there is a negation of I-ness and mindness and the transcendence of all mental functions is called the best form of silence. It is silence of sleepless sleep. When Sushupta Mauna attains its infinite fullness, it is called Turiya. Turiya is transcendental. 3 stages: waking, dream, deep sleep. They continue to grip your soul in the state of ignorance. Either you are awake, you dream, or you go to sleep. When you do sadhana, you get to positive counterpart of those 3 states. Waking, you develop vivek, vairagya, live in the world for attaining liberation. Dream, when you begin to practice reflection and meditation, the world is viewed by you like as if in a dream. You go to the positive counterpart of dream state. When you have dived deep in purifying your samskaras, you experience the positive counterpart of deep sleep state. These 3 are also identified with A-U-M of Om. Transcending the 3 state is called Turiya, the 4th. When a yogi becomes established in the perception of the negation of the word, this is termed Turiya. When A-U-M, all are transcended. Waking, dream, and deep sleep are transcended. However, as he becomes immersed in the Supreme Self of Brahman, wherein even the process of negation of the world doesn't exist, he enjoys the state of Turiyatita. First entry into this state is known as Turiya. When it becomes more mature, perfect, called Turiyatita. When you have emerged out of the 3, you are described as you have transcended the 3 states. But when you are fully established in the understanding that waking, dream, and deep sleep, they belong to the world of ignorance, they never existed. The question, I have emerged out of waking, dream, deep sleep, emerged out of nothing. Turiyatita. So that state is called Turiyatita. You have transcended even the Turiya. In this state, a sage becomes a videha mukta. Now you are no longer jivan mukta, having the body. The body is no longer there. There are 7 states of wisdom. The first 4 states, Shubhecha or aspiration, Vicharana or reflection, Tanu Manasi or attenuation of mind, and Sattvapatti or illumination. These states are called the waking state from a figurative point of view. A wise sage sees the world with the awakened vision of the spiritual intuition. However, as the impressions of the world are gradually effaced, he becomes supremely detached from the world. So after Sattva-apatti, as Jivan Mukti begins to mature, first step you reach called Asam Sakti, living in the world but untouched. Things come and go. All types of things happen. Here again you have to understand very profoundly, when you say you remain untouched, that doesn't mean that a mosquito buzzes near your nose and you do nothing about it. You remain untouched. The descriptions don't apply to your physical body or your practical realities. Practical realities continue. But no matter how things continue, how you hold in your heart the ultimate experience, the awareness of yourself, that awareness of yourself, a deep-rooted heart, Aham Brahmasmi, that is full and unshaken. So, after Asam Sakti, you enter into Padartha Bhavana. The whole world of matter simply disappears. Padartha Bhavana is same as removal of Bhava Pratyaya. The projection world is taken away. And now you are left with the final stage, Turiya. And Turiya matures into Turiya Tita. In the sixth stage, in the sixth state of your state, his mind becomes supremely free from impressions based upon ego sense. Therefore, he does not see his body as well as the world, even like the fleeting phenomena of dream. See, one is you are waking up from a dream. A dream is there, but you are not upset by it. Another, you have become awakened from the dream. Dream is not there anymore. All these are drowned in the supreme silence of sleep. So all that we described, there are different stages of sleep, allegorically speaking. They are all relating to Sushupta Mauna. And Sushupta Mauna is your ideal. Other types of Mauna practice as disciplinary. This is figuratively described as sleep. The term sleep is used only in a figurative way. Herein a sage experiences the state of superconsciousness that needs no support from the world process. It is also known as Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Though existing in the body, a sage becomes bodiless in his consciousness. This is the state that matures into the absolute unity with the Divine Self, designated by the terms Turiya and Turiyatita. Therefore, O Rama, meditate on the spiritual significance of four aspects of Om, A-U-M, and the Ardhamatra, half syllable. These four represent waking, dream, deep sleep, and the transcendental self respectively. Just to remind you of Om Upasana. Om is the foundation of profound vichar, Vedantic practice. With A, you are developing the awareness that if I am the body, I am the entire world of matter. Identified with body, you are called Vishwa. The whole universal matter aspect of the whole universe called Virat. And that identity is opening the door when you say Om, the awe aspect. Switch to next aspect. The idea I am the body is not in the body. So move away from the body. It is in your mind. But here again, as your mind is a wave in the cosmic mind. So if you are a wave, you have to have this insight to say, I am the ocean. Identified with mind, soul is called Tejas, effulgent. And as such, the soul belongs to the entire Hiranyagarbha, cosmic mind. If you are individual mind, then you are cosmic mind as well. If you are a wave, you are the whole ocean. Now go beyond the mind. Even the idea of your mind is sustained by subtle impressions of the unconscious. The unconscious state, identity with unconscious state from individualized way is called prajna. Now, your unconscious state, causal body, is a wave in cosmic causal body, which is Ishvara, God Himself. So if you are a wave, prajna, you are Ishvara as well. After these three, you are entering into Turiya. You have gone beyond A-U-M and slipped into transcendental. That transcendental is Brahman, the Absolute. By meditating upon the significance of Om, you will become free from the subtle vasanas of the mind, subtle vasanas and samskaras. In fact, you will be free of mala, vikshepa and avarana. Mala, gross impurities. Vikshepa, subconscious complexes. Avarana is the veil of ignorance. And that's the goal of life. And with this, I will conclude. Om Ram 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 Om Namah Shivaya Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om. Prayer for shower of Karunamaya Rasa grace of God over all of you with the blessings of Shakti, Bhakti and Mukti. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarukmuva Bandhana Mrityor Mukshiyama Mritat. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat.
Are there any questions? Sri Ram?
Pranam Gurudev. Gurudev, you described the sage rising beyond existence and non-existence. So is that beyond the bhava pratyaya and pratyaya bhava?
Yes. Beyond bhava pratyaya that's all you do. Abhava pratyaya means already you have transcended. You don't transcend pratyaya bhava. But try to understand, if you are under bhava pratyaya, you experience both type of experience, presence of things and absence of things. Even in that area we use the word bhava and abhava. You are experiencing bhava, existence, abhava, non-existence. But all that is you are doing is within bhava, bhava pratyaya. The transcendental is beyond. So therefore, whether you are experiencing loss or gain, enlightenment is not affected by it. Where projection ends or not, screen is never affected by it.
Gurudev, you said that state is a state of absolute aloneness. And then you have also described the sage also sees everything as Brahman. So is that a different stage or is that part of the same?
No, simple way to understand. The sun is alone. Ekant. All reflections have no reality. But at the same time, you switch your mind to understand the same sun is shining through countless reflections. They are not contradicting. The idea I am only the sun. Enjoy complete enjoyment. You are the sun as well as all its illuminations. If you think the illuminations are separate, you have not attained the realization. If Brahman means you have to close your eyes, I'm Brahman, move away. No, keep your eyes more open. That is Brahman alone is real and is shining through all names and forms.
Yeah, one more last question. You described the positive counterpart of sleep, waking and deep sleep after spiritual practice. During the waking you described Vairagya, Viveka and so on. Can you describe what the deep sleep counterpart is and the dream counterpart?
Deep sleep counterpart is Nirvikalpa Samadhi. The lesser counterpart is lesser stages of sadhana. From Nirvikalpa you come back to Savikalpa Samadhi and so forth.
Swamiji described the positive counterpart as reflection and meditation during the dream state. So the meditation can go on in the dream state when you are on spiritual path?
When we describe allegorical terms, that a rope is a snake. Don't go after the snake. is just a figurative word. So just like you enter your dream, the dream is a negative, minus. Instead of dreaming, you are allowing affirmation to enter your mind. Your mind now creates a positive view. I am not the body, I am not the mind. What are you doing? We are creating a dream, but a positive type. So that's what we mean by positive counterpart.
Thank you, Gurudev.
Please remember that classes continue as usual on Friday and Saturday, but this Sunday at 7:30, instead of Bhagavad Gita lecture, you'll enjoy Swamiji's Easter message.
Om Shri Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Thank you. Thank you, Swamiji.